Good morning and welcome to this morning's morning market review. My name is Russell Shaw, I'm a senior market specialist at FXCM. Today is Thursday, it's the 28th of March. Just before we get into the live stream, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our disclaimers. I'm going to start off with the high risk investment warning. I'm going to keep this on screen for a few moments. If you can just take the time to read through that, be much appreciated. Hey Raj, good morning to you and welcome. Nice to have you on the live stream, as always. I'm just going to leave this high risk investment warning on for another few seconds. Okay, and here's our market commentaries disclaimer. I also want to just keep this on screen for a few moments if you can just peruse through that. All right, excellent. Let's go ahead. Let's start off with the real rate. I'm just going to go ahead, bring up that chart. Hey, bro, Shadrach. Nice to have you on the live stream. Okay, you guys should be familiar with this chart. This is the real rate on the top, and we've got the US dollar just underneath that. And what I'll do here, just to highlight the relationship between the two, let's just bring up a correlation. Just bear with me. Let's go ahead. We'll click on the indicator button and just go ahead, type in correlation coefficient. All right, and just make sure that you've brought up the US dollar instrument. Okay, we've got an exceptionally strong correlation. There's a positive correlation here. It slipped slightly, and that's where it gets interesting. So take a look here. We slipped from, let's call it about 80%. We've now gone to about 60% right here. And the question we've got to ask is, well, why are we slipping? What's the story behind that? And if you take a look at the real rate, okay, the real rate is coming down. Okay, we've put this arrow in before. And the correlation is telling us that the US dollar should be coming down as well, right? And if the US dollar is coming down, that in of itself is giving us some information, but it's quite resilient. We've got the US dollar that's remaining quite buoyant over here. And the idea here is, I think, either the real rate has to push up, or eventually the US dollar should come down if the correlation is going to hold. Correlation is not causation, okay? But the fact of the matter is we do have the positive correlation there. Yesterday, the Reserve Bank Governor Waller did say that there's no rush to bring rates down, but we do seem to be having, if we just zoom here, bear with me, we do seem to be having some pressure on the real rates, and it looks like it's about a breakdown of this pattern here. Okay, whereas you take a look at the US dollar remains quite buoyant. So just keep that in the back of your minds. It does seem there's some sort of divergence between the fundamentals here, but given the fact that there is some sort of support for the US dollar, let's start off with taking a look and see if there is an opportunity there for the US dollar to generate some sort of trade signal today. So let's go through to the daily chart. Let's bring up US dollar. All right, just bear with me. Oh, there's something I've got to tell you guys, by the way. It looks as if streams is coming to an end. There was a message on TradingView suggesting that the 7th of April is the last day for streams, and that would be a big pity. We're going to have an internal meeting. We'll see what is the way forward there, and I'll let you guys know. Okay, I'm just bringing up the US dollar daily chart. No, my slide's taking a bit of time. I beg your pardon. Okay, let's go ahead and share that screen. All right, here's the US dollar. And what I want to show you is that we are between the upper blue. So here's the upper blue, and here's the upper red band. So we're in the bullish area. And when we take a look at the momentum's positive, isn't it? Where's the RSI? RSI is above 50. Okay, so the fact that the RSI is above 50 is already telling you there's some buoyancy there. And then I think of special of exceptional importance, I beg your pardon, is the stochastic. As long as that stochastic remains in the upper quintile, there's going to be dollar buoyancy. So if there's dollar buoyancy, you've got to be very careful. Shorting something that has strong momentum is a really risky strategy. That's not something that you want to undertake without some serious risk management considerations. Okay, so let's just take a look at the hourly chart. Given the fact that the US dollar daily chart is showing buoyancy, I'm going to go down to the hourly chart, and we'll see if there is some sort of timing considerations. Let's go ahead and share that tab. Now, this is a very, very interesting start of the day. Just look how strong we're starting the day on the US dollar. There is a mammoth movement up here. In terms of our timing signals, take a look. We've got a trigger 1. Okay. So we've got the moving averages that have crossed positively. And take a look at the trigger 2. Stochastic has crossed positively as well. So we've got the two triggers have been pulled. Now, is that going to guarantee any sort of, let me try that once more. There we go. Is that going to guarantee any sort of swing? No, what we've got to do is watch the momentum. Okay, and the momentum builds with the stochastic. So if the stochastic makes its way up to the upper quintile and we get up to the upper quintile and it holds, there's going to be most likely a swing. Take a look what happened the last time we hit the upper quintile, which was back on the 26th, or 2 days ago. It hits it over here and holds. Okay, here's the swing. Here's the swing. So it looks as if the shorter term traders are now synchronizing, they're aligning with the daily time frame, and that in of itself seems to suggest there is the potential for a bullish swing here. If the US dollar is going to swing bullishly, well, that gives us a lot of information, because what would we expect from the majors? Given that the majors are attached to the US dollar, we expect euro to come down, we expect cable to come down. Yeah, this is a massive, massive blue candle that's coming through there. Exactly right, Kim. Let's take a look, see what's happening on Euro side. Let's take a look at a few of the other majors. Let's even take a look at US dollar Japanese yen, which the yen was the weakest it's been since, I think, 1990. Okay, let's start off with Euro though. Let's just take a look at Euro. Gigantic blue candle there. Gigantic. All right, let's just take a look at, sorry, I don't want to do it on the daily chart. I just want to go back to, sorry, I don't want to do the hourly. I want to go back to the daily chart. And let's just take a look at the euro on the daily. We'll do that top-down analysis again. And let's see if we're getting long-range candles on the other forex pairs as well, Kim. Let's see if that's the. All right, here we go. I'm sharing euro US dollar daily with you. And let's just ask our questions. Which zone are we in? Well, we're in zone 3. Okay, between the lower blue, lower red, there is a bearish pressure. That makes sense given the buoyancy that we saw in the US dollar, right? Where are we momentum wise? Take a look at the RSI is below 50. There is a pressure on the euro. That is expected. Okay. Where is the momentum? Now, just by the way, okay, um, we didn't uh, we didn't consider it yesterday, but we took a look at the beginning of the week at the stochastic of euro. Now, just watch how potent the signal was on Monday, in that we suggested on Monday it's about to break the lower quintile. Well, not only did we suggest it, it actually happened. It broke the lower quintile, and we've got this big movement down in euro. So there was a signal that was already generated a couple of days back, and we hit it. We hit the nail on the head. Okay, so let's take a look at the hourly chart, see if the hourly chart is lining up with the daily chart. So bear with me. We just go to euro. Let's bring up the hourly chart. Okay, watch this, Kim. Big candle to the downside as well. Okay, big candle to the downside as well. Take a look here. Trigger 1 to the downside. Trigger 2, that's the stochastic looking like it's cracking down. Now, we ask the question, we've got the two triggers. We've got the two triggers. The question is, does that guarantee a swing to the downside? And of course, we all know the answer to that is no. There's no guarantees in this business. But if we can watch the momentum, and that's if the stochastic makes its way to the lower quintile and holds, then we probably have there that swing on. Take a look. If we go back a few days, um, here is the stochastic hitting the lower quintile, right? And given the fact that the stochastic hit the lower quintile there, here's the swing down. It was actually not quite, I guess, a swing of strength. Nevertheless, there were pips to be made there, right? There were pips to be made there. All right, let's just take a look at, I want to take a look at cable, and I want to take a look at Japanese yen. So let's just go ahead, bring up the daily chart of cable, see if there are signals lining up there. And then what we'll do is we'll take a look at gold, and we'll start looking at some of the stock market indexes. Okay, just bear a moment. It's not a smooth transition here on the daily chart. For some odd reason, it's taking some time to bring up the pound. Just give me a few moments. All right, just while the daily chart is working itself out, I'll also bring up the hourly chart, just so we're not sitting here wasting time. All right, let us just take in. So I'm going to just I'm going to perhaps turn the camera off just to get some sort of bandwidth here. Bear with me a moment. All right, guys, I'm so sorry. It looks like we've jammed up here with the bandwidth. Okay, wait a second. Here is the Gee, that took some time. That took some time. I'm begging your pardon. Okay, here is the pound. Which zone are we in? Let's go ahead, bring up the daily chart. Which zone are we in? We're in zone 3. We're in the area between the lower blue and the lower red. Where is the RSI? RSI is below 50. Bearish momentum. Where are we in terms of stochastic? So there is some strength to that momentum to the downside. Let's go through to the hourly chart. Let's just see if there are some signals that are being generated there. So going ahead, bring up the hourly chart. Okay, I don't see the cable pairing quite as I don't think it's quite as inviting, so to speak, as euro US dollar. You can see we've got this underlying support here. Okay, so there's a lot of bulls under current levels which might defend their positions. And what we can say is yes, we do have a trigger 1. We do have a trigger 2. Now what we'll do is we'll keep an eye to see if it does fall down to the lower quintile. You can see the last time we went down to that lower quintile, which was on the 27th, so yesterday, there was a nice swing to the downside. Okay, so if you caught that, well done. But the idea here is it looks as if we've got this underlying support where is I've had to go back to euro US dollar. It looks like it's quite open below us. So I'm just going to bring up euro US dollar. I just want to show you guys it looks quite open below. Okay, and I just want to see if the it's taking some time just to. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why it's taking so long this morning. I'm begging your pardon. Here we go. Just take a look at euro. There's no bulls below us to defend their position. So if we move towards the lower quintile, that would be really, really interesting. Now, let me just show you what the danger is for the foreign exchange market today. I want to bring up US dollar Japanese yen. Okay, let's just go ahead, bring up US dollar Japanese yen. Again, I'm going to do it on the daily chart. Okay, this is US dollar Japanese yen. In fact, I'm going to go through to monthly chart here. And I'm going to just try to go back as far as I can. Just put in all. Okay, and here is 98. Here's 90. We're kind of hitting 90 levels over here. See that? We're hitting yen weakness, and we haven't seen this kind of weakness since 1990. So a fair amount of time. So what's the danger on the forex market? The danger is actually the Japanese authorities. You guys have to be um, very careful here, because what the Japanese authorities could do is they could start buying up yen and selling US dollars, just to kind of defend the 150 level. If they defend the 150 level, and if they disrupt the market and they start defending levels, that could flow through to other currency pairs. So just be aware that we are in potential interference levels. Not expensive, yeah, expensive imports, cheap exports, expensive imports. Quite right, Raj. Quite right. Quite right. And by the way, um, one of the biggest imports into Japan's energy. They don't produce their own energy, so oil and gas that all gets imported in, right? So I think that euro is looking like it's lining up quite nicely. US dollar lining up quite nicely. Even cable lining up quite nicely, but we've got that underlying support on cable. But just be aware that the Japanese authorities, they're probably getting kind of itchy fingers here. So just be careful around that. Let's just take a look now at gold, see what's happening on the precious metal. Okay. I just want to remove the drawings here. Look, we're in zone one. Okay. Now, gold in of itself is quite interesting. There is a loss of momentum here. You can see that the Bollinger's bubbled, and now they're starting to squeeze again. So there has been a loss of volatility, but um, I don't think that's something that is unexpected. We did move from an overbought condition into a more normalized. Um, keep away from foreign. Well, Kim, that's a good question. I don't know if and when. The question is if and when the Japanese authorities act. So just be careful. And by the way, just remember that in a lot of countries over tomorrow and Monday, we've got a long weekend, right? So there's going to be some uh, potential liquidity issues around that. Let's just go down to the hourly on gold. Let's just see if gold is showing some sort of hourly signals. And I'm going to go ahead and bring that up now. Okay, just sharing the tab. Um, so the precious metal is not quite as robust as, say, the euro and the currencies were. In fact, what we want to do is we just, if the dollar continues to push higher, okay, then it may act on gold, and we may get some pressure to the downside. So the idea here behind gold seems to be counter trending at the moment. The fact that it's counter trending, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing because it does seem to suggest strength in the dollar. And if the dollar strength is being suggested, that gives us opportunity, not so much in the precious metal yet, but maybe in the other majors, perhaps in the other majors. Okay, last chart, and then we'll call it a day. Let's just see how DAX is opening now. I know DAX for me is a good looking chart, but it's frothy, it's overbought, and that frothiness, that overbought, at some stage will need to normalize, it will need to correct, is just not cooperating in terms of that. Let's go ahead, just bring up the DAX and see if there's any signs of that correction coming in, given the fact that dollar is being supported. Remember, dollar's a safe haven, right? So that might be acting on DAX. Let's just go ahead and bring that up. Okay. If there's any other charts or anything, go ahead and type those in. I'm just going to go ahead, bring up the DAX for you. Just give me a few moments. The system's quite slow this morning. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow. Just give me a moment for that to come up. By the way, just in terms of the fundamental news that's going to be released this week. Tomorrow is PCE, right? PCE. So that's the personal consumption expenditure. That's the preferred inflation gauge for the Fed, but it's a public holiday in most places. There is going to be University of Michigan inflation expectations out today. I'll take a look at that. I think that's going to be really, really useful for us. Really, really useful. Okay, let's take a look at DAX. It's come up now. And it's an absolutely beautiful looking chart. The stock markets have been absolutely on fire for most of 2024. We've just got this condition where it seems a bit frothy. I wouldn't be surprised if the buoyancy in the dollar sparks some sort of profit taking. So just be aware of that. Let's go down to the hourly chart, just see if there is any sort of suggestion on the hourly chart. And you could see that with the support that the greenback's getting today, uh, with the support that the greenback's getting today, let me just bring back my indicators. you can just see that the DAX hourly is starting to show some sort of weakness. The RSI looks like it might move on to that negative momentum side. That wouldn't be surprising to me. Okay, I think that the potential for profit taking, we've been saying that for quite some time now, but I think that you know, we must be pretty close to it. So just be aware of that. Okay, that's as far as we'll go today. That's as far as we'll go today. If there's any questions, go ahead and type those in. If you enjoyed this, go ahead, click that boost button. Unfortunately, it does seem as if the streams are coming to an end on the 7th of April. Uh, I'll get back to you on what potential plans are around that. Thank you very much for joining me today, guys. Have a really good day ahead, and we shall catch up again, not tomorrow, not on Monday, but we'll catch up again on Tuesday. Thanks very much, guys. Uh, no stream yesterday. No stream yesterday. Okay, Raj.